guys, today I got a recipe for you. We're gonna be making a broccoli and blue cheese quiche. It's definitely a showstopper and everybody will like it, and it's also suitable for the vegetarians. So let's get started. For the ingredients, you're gonna need a large broccoli chopped up, 1.5 or 1 big onion. You could also use red, but I didn't have it, so I chose to use a normal white onion. 2 tomatoes, 4 to 5 eggs depending on how large your eggs are, some dough, I got some cashews here as well, roughly chopped. Then I have some grated cheese and Danish blue. You could also use gorgonzola or something like that. Then you're gonna need a large tin like this, or cake form, and you're gonna need some olive oil and of course salt and pepper to taste. Firstly, you're gonna preheat your oven 200 degrees on 50 minutes because it's gonna have to preheat, and let that go. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is boil some water and quickly heat the broccoli. It's more like blanching it. You're not really gonna cook it, just throw it in there for 2 minutes, maybe 3, and then take it out again. Now don't go wasting these lovely stems. They might be hard on the outside, but the inner side's like this. So if you chop off the outer bark, you can use the insides and they're perfectly fine and cook just like the rest of the broccoli. Bring your water up to a rolling boil and add your broccoli, and you're gonna see that it's gonna turn a really beautiful bright green as you just blanch it for maybe 2 minutes. When it has finished cooking for 2 minutes, you're just gonna drain it and let it sit there to cool for a little bit. The next thing you're gonna do is add some olive oil into the pan. When your oil is nice and hot, you're gonna add in your onion and your cashews. At this point you could add salt and pepper to taste. Since my cashews are already salted, I'm gonna just use a pinch of salt and loads of black pepper. When you've stir fried this for a little while, you're gonna transfer it to the pot where you cook the broccoli in and just let it sit. Next, on to making the crusts. You're gonna grab your pan or your spring form or whatever you call this, and you're just gonna dress it with the pastry. Make sure you lay out your pastry to unfreeze. Not too long because then it will dry out, but just long enough so that it won't be rock hard. Start by adding just a little bit of olive oil to grease it, and make sure that when you want to take it out it doesn't stick to the bottom, and just use either a pastry brush or your hands to rub it in and make sure every corner is greased. Now obviously I have washed my hands and it will only be me and my boyfriend eating this batch, so don't worry. If you're cooking for yourself or cooking for family, they should be able to trust that you ain't putting nothing crazy in there. So if you want to work with your hands, work with your hands. Now start adding in your crust and slightly folding it over the edge, not too much because it will burn, and just paste it together on the lines like this. Now we're gonna poke some holes with our fork to make sure that any air trapped under there will be able to get out. So just make tiny little holes all over. It's like making art. And now I'm gonna take my magic ingredient to make sure the bottom doesn't get soggy, because that's not what you want. I'm gonna crumble this cracker all the way over the bottom of the cake, and you could use practically anything dry. You could even use dried toast if you wanted to, but this is just what I happen to have on hand. I'm just gonna crumble it. Next we're gonna stir in our tomatoes and part of our shredded cheese. Because the rest we're going to use to throw over the top. Now we're going to spread the filling as evenly as possible over the pie. And last but not least, I think I forgot this delicious blue cheese. We're just going to crumble it over and push it in a little bit like this. And the best thing I find is just doing it with your fingers, because then you can just distribute it as much as you want, and just to make sure that you push some of the pieces in as well, so that when it melts, it's gonna melt all throughout. Crack some eggs and whisk away. And now we're gonna distribute all of that lovely egg mix over the filling. Make sure that you save a little bit of the egg wash, because you're gonna need it to wash the crust of the pie so that it doesn't burn too much and it gets a really nice sheen in the oven. Try to be as even as possible. There. Add in the topping cheese, and that's going to form a really beautiful golden brown crust. Just make sure you spread it as evenly as possible. And we're ready for the oven. And we're ready for the oven. And we're gonna put it on 45 minutes and just keep an eye on it. And this is what it looks like fresh out of the oven. As you can see, the cheese has formed a beautiful crust on the top. It's still very, very hot, so I'm gonna let it cool for a little bit longer, and then it's time to eat. So now that your quiche has cooled down a little bit, we're gonna finally cut it, and I hope you can hear that nice crunch. And I'm just gonna serve myself a little. Now that looks absolutely perfect, and it smells delicious as well. Let's get you on there, and then I'm gonna take a bite. It's hot though. That is really, really delicious. Especially that blue cheese has melted completely into every little nook and cranny, and this is really something that you should be able to impress your whole family with. Thank you for cooking with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you found it helpful. And if you want to see more cooking videos or vlogs where I vlog with my boyfriend, please subscribe to this channel as well, because we just throw everything in one channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!